Hello and welcome to Lawson Learning. In today's lesson, we're going to be learning about time. Now, time is something that we all want, something that all of us want to use in a wise, in a productive way. But of course, the question is, how do we do it? How do we use time in a way that where we get the most out of our time and we don't feel like we're wasting time? Because let's face it, we only have a certain amount of time in our lives, and we need to make sure that we use it in the best way. So, of course, the first question to begin with when looking at time is this question of what is time? Time is, you might say, it's the way we measure from past to the present moment to the future, and we kind of see it in this linear way. Like we had our past, that's all happened. We're doing things now, and we're going to do things in the future. And really, what matters most in terms of time management is really what we're doing now. So what are we doing with our lives right now? And that's also one of the things that we're going to be looking at today is how can we best utilize the time we spend now? Because really, that's all that we're ever spending time in is now. We can't spend time in the future or spend time in the past unless you're doing it now through a memory or through imagination, but that's still happening now. So Albert Einstein said that time is an illusion, and it's kind of based on his theory that time is relative to our own experiences, and this is true. Time is a human construct, but also like money is also a construct or illusion created by so the human mind. It's still a fundamental thing, and it's very important to how we live our lives in human society. Time is limited and it's precious. So the average life expectancy is around, say, 71 years. 71 years. This is for, if you take all the humans in the planet and look for the average life expectancy, it's 71 years. If you just type it into the internet, you'll get something like 71 years or something within that ballpark. Now, even if you live longer, even if I live longer than 71 years, let's say I live to 80 years or even longer, I can only really think of that as bonus time, really. So we're going to count not even 71 years, but let's say 70 years. Let's cut our lives off at 70 years, really, because when we get to 70 years, our lives aren't really the same anymore. They're kind of either we're dead, or we're about to die, or we've kind of used up most of the energy in the tank by that point. So it's not really, in terms of the best way to spend our time, those years, we're not going to be focusing on those years. Of course, if you are listening in and you are watching this video and you are over 70, then of course, obviously use these techniques to make the best of your time. But I'm trying to talk to a broader audience here. I'm assuming a lot of you are also below the age of 70. And if you are, then I want you to focus on all the years up to the age of 70 here, because you'll just have much less energy from the age of 70 onwards, really, to do any big things with your life. I'd say even, from the ages of 40 onwards, your energy is going to really kind of decrease. Even 30, actually, 30 onwards, your energy is going to go downhill. But but certainly by the age of 70, you've kind of lost the ability to do big things. Let's say you might say, when I say big things, I mean things that require a lot of energy. You can still do important things in your 70s, but just perhaps not things that require massive amounts of energy. So, given, I recently, a few days ago, I turned 27 years old, and I assume I have roughly 44 years left of my life to do everything that I want to do in this life. And when you count it that way, you realize the need to plan and manage and structure how you use your time. And you're kind of taking responsibility for your time as well, because you need to take responsibility for your time, because if you don't, then someone else will use your time. Someone else will take up your time. And that does actually lead to something that Steve Jobs said, which is your time is limited. So don't waste it living someone else's life. That doesn't mean that you can't or that you shouldn't use it with other people. If that time is valuable to you, to spend that time with other people. But there's no point wasting it just for someone else and not for yourself. Your time needs to be for you, fundamentally. So why, why do so many people worry about time? Why do I worry about time? Well, I don't really think of that as I worry about time itself, but how I spend that time. So, if I feel I spent my time well, I don't need to worry about time management, right? If I feel like I've wasted my time, then I certainly need to learn about time management. That's the thing. So really, time management, you could say, it's for people who are worried about time. If you're not worried about time, you wouldn't even be watching this video. You wouldn't be looking for advice on how to manage your time, because otherwise you would be happy with the way you spend your time and you'd be happy with the way you manage it. So how do I stop worrying about time? So really, in today's lesson, I'm going to introduce to you a method, a process for managing your time and letting go of, obviously, worries about how you spend your time. Because I can begin by saying, really, that you have not wasted your time. No matter who you are, the way you spent your time in the past and the way you're spending it now is exactly how you should be spending it, given where you are in your life and what your circumstances are. So I just want you to just let go of worrying that you're wasting your time, because even if you feel like you're wasting your time, you can always change it. But the fact that you have wasted, your time up until now, you might say isn't even wasting time, because it was an experience that you had. Right? These are just experiences, and what we do actually has no value in itself. It doesn't really matter. It's almost like life is a play in a way, and it doesn't really matter what we do. It only matters to you, and it matters to you and how meaningful you find that. If you feel like you're wasting time, then yeah, it's better to change that. So how do you stop worrying about time? Well, obviously, the way to begin is actually to look at the past. You review your past. You review the actions you've taken in the past and the things that you've been doing up till now. And then you schedule your time in the future, for the future, right? You look at the things that you want to do, and then you schedule those things into you have a planner of some kind, and then you schedule those into your planner, following through the best you can on your schedule, and then giving yourself enough breaks. So why learn about time management? Well, strictly speaking, you can't manage time. You can't control time in a sense. You can't sort of turn the clock back. You can't turn it forward. Um, once a day has gone, the day has gone. It's fairly bright now, for a winter's day. What is it, a winter's day or December day? I don't know when winter starts, but the end of autumn. It's a fairly bright day, but it's going to die down, and it's going to go dark, and there's nothing I can do to manage that time. There's nothing I can do, so I can't manage the time. But I can use time to manage what I do. So you can't manage time, but only what you do with that time. So really, instead of time management, it should be called action management, really. So you should manage your time because it allows you to focus on what's important to you, and also cut out everything else. Cut out all the other shit, all the other stuff that you don't need in your life. That's using up your time unnecessarily. Then, when you do what's important to you, you've managed your time well. You could say that you've managed your time well once you've done the thing that's important to you, and you stop doing what's not important to you. Now, here's the glitch. Here's the thing. I mean, even though we all have common activities that we commonly think are good ways to spend time, we're actually all unique individuals, and each of us have different ways of spending our time, and we have different ideas of what are important ways to spend our time. One person might like to watch TV all day, right, and actually think that that's an important way to spend their time. They love watching TV all day. And for them, if they love it and they really get genuine happiness out of watching TV all day, then of course that is the best way to spend their time, and that's how they should be spending their time. If, however, you're watching TV not because you particularly love TV, but because you are putting off something that's more important, you're procrastinating, then actually it's not a very good way to spend your time, because what you're doing there is you have this thing that's an important way to spend your time, but you're putting it off by watching TV instead. And that, in that case, it's not a good way to spend your time. I think I use the watching TV example because for most people, watching TV is a bit of a waste of time. But who knows? If it's your passion, then of course it's not a waste of time. So you have to work that out for yourself. So what is the best or the wisest way for me to spend my time? What is wasting time versus making the most of your time? This is a really interesting question. This is mainly because this question is mainly down to the way you personally see what is valuable and what is not valuable. This is why, as a student of my class, you have to actually make your own list of the things that you do. I want you to do this as an exercise. Write down how you spend a typical day. I want you to do it so maybe it's a working day, and then also a weekend day or a holiday day off, right? So, and then how do you spend that day? What do you try to write down as many things as you can, even the small things like maybe brushing your teeth, going to the toilet, whatever it is. You write those things down, right? You write down everything, even if it's checking your messages, checking social media. Write that down too. Write down everything that you do in a typical day. if you really want to do this well, it's worth actually looking at your day by actually recording a typical day. Just take a day and then record how long you spend on each activity in the day, and write down what the activity was and how long you spent on it. And you can do this just to see and to get like a bird's eye view perspective of how you're actually spending your time. And then once you've done that, you can see, you can make your own judgments. You can make your own. Well, it's not really about making your own judgments, but come to your own conclusions about which are good ways to spend your time, and how are you spending your time, which are some negative ways of spending your time that you don't like. And also, maybe there are some ways that you are spending your time thinking, well, this activity is a valuable activity to me, but maybe I'm spending too much time on it. So even though watching TV is valuable to me, and I still want to keep doing it, I want to reduce the amount of time that I still do that thing. It doesn't necessarily mean I want to stop doing it, but maybe I want to reduce the amount of time I spend on it. So you can then you could split it into three different. You could look at the list of activities that you've done in that day, and write down, okay, so which are the activities that are valuable activities, which I think have worth, which are the activities that do not have a lot of value. So let's say they actually detract value from my life. They're distractions. So, and then which activities do I need to reduce the amount of time I spend on? So even though they're kind of vaguely valuable in a way, I still spend too much time on them, right? So, and then you can ascertain which activities are a waste of time, which ones are not a waste of time, which ones are valuable. For me, typically for me, when I look at how I spend my time, I would say that working on my lessons, like the ones I teach, so this lesson, let's say planning and preparing and recording this lesson is like a valuable way of spending my time. I really enjoy teaching. I enjoy sharing my knowledge. I enjoy sharing wisdom with people. So that's really good. I think this is like a good way to spend my time. I would say that probably a distraction, a bad way to spend my time, or let's say a bad way, but like a way that I spend my time that's a distraction would be possibly possibly scrolling YouTube. Scrolling YouTube is a waste of time. Just when I scroll mindlessly, I don't like. I love YouTube. That's what I mean. I love posting to YouTube. I love watching YouTube videos, but I don't like just scrolling. I think scrolling is a distraction. So I really need to stop doing scrolling completely. I don't even need to have that in my day. So no scrolling. Okay. And then what's a way I need to reduce, which activities do I need to reduce the amount of time I spend? Well, I think maybe sleeping. I need to stop oversleeping, in the sense that like I end up sleeping past, say I wake up at 7, and then I end up sleeping past 7, and that's really annoying, because that means that I could have spent that hour between 7 and 8:30 when I was lying in doing something valuable, but instead I was oversleeping. So I've really got to stop doing that. Even if I go to bed late, I've got to stop going to bed late. And actually, and that's all about time management. So really, I've got to stop oversleeping. I've got to get up on time. I've got to get up at 7. So stop oversleeping. That's reduce the sleep time, the sleeping in anyway. At least cut out the sleeping in and just have a normal sleep. Okay, so that's like just an example of 3 activities. Obviously, I would look at all the activities in my day and do the same thing. The reason I'm asking you to do it, and I'm not just giving you a list of valuable activities versus time-wasting activities, is because really, let's face it, what's valuable to one person might be a waste of time to another person. So it's really difficult to actually determine that. That's why I want you to do this exercise. Okay, so let's get down to the nuts and bolts. So how do I manage my time? Of course, one way really is just to review. The first way, obviously, is just to review how you spent your time in the past. Are you looking at the list of activities? Are you happy with that list? If yes, you're happy with the list of activities you do, keep doing it. If not, then ask the question, how do I change it? How do I change these activities to be ones which I'm more interested in doing? So this is where scheduling and time blocking activities comes in. So there are different types of activities you want to schedule. So these are valuable activities. These are activities that you think are important. Now, when I talk about scheduling and time blocking, I mean you get a piece of paper. So it could be a piece of paper. Actually, what I have is a notebook, just a blank notebook. You write down the hours, so 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of the day. And then you just draw a box next to the hour of the activity that you want to do. And if you map it out like that, you get a nice picture of what you want your day to be like, of how you've planned your day to be like. Now, of course, you can be flexible here and be adaptable, because that's not exactly how your day is going to turn out like. Maybe you'll spend longer on this thing, or maybe you'll have to change this thing. But it's a good start, and it's a good way to plan your day and how long you want to spend on each activity. So now you know how to, obviously, you just need to draw up that schedule of your day. Valuable activities. Obviously, do the most valuable activities first. So let's say the most valuable activity to me is to make this lesson and to teach it to you. So therefore, I'm going to do this in as early as I can after my morning routine. So obviously, I'll get up, I'll do a little bit of journaling, I'll do a little bit of running, I'll go for a run, I'll have a shower, I'll have breakfast, I'll meditate, and then I'll get on with my with this work that I'm doing, and with this valuable activity that I'm doing. I could do it as soon as I wake up in the morning. Some people like to do it that way. I like to have a morning routine first because it energizes me for the work. It wakes me up a little bit more. I'm ready to do this kind of purposeful work that I'm doing today. And then there's non-valuable activities. So non-valuable activities, obviously, so these are ones you don't want to schedule. Just don't schedule these. Just be aware that you do these things, but then don't schedule them. You've also got to have habits in there. So habits are things you do on every day. For example, meditation, maybe you do yoga, you do exercise or something. What I want you to do is really actually have that. I always have habits as part of my routine. So my morning routine has my habits in. For example, it has exercise in there, it has breakfast in there, it has meditation in there. Just so I could, just through the act of doing it again and again and again, it makes me, it, it prepares me for my day, doing those habits. Distractions, you need to just be aware of them. Don't schedule these. Now, tasks. Tasks will come up, and you need to leave room every day for just chores and tasks you need to do. So maybe you need to apply for a visa or something, right? Let's just say that thing, that's the thing, that's a task that comes up. You need to have that in your, what I do is I have on OneNote, I have a planner where I just write down a checkbox list of all the tasks I need to do. And I have the dates in my OneNote as well. So, you know, which dates I need to do them by. And then I just actually time block some time in my schedule to complete that task, to get that task done. It could be yeah, like it could be applying for a visa, for example, or it could be maybe it's do the grocery shopping or something, or take the dog to the vet or something. Things that are very remedial, very just chores you need to get done. Make sure you leave time in your schedule to get these tasks done. Leave a good 1 or 2, maybe even 3 hours to get tasks done. At the same time, don't let your whole day be about doing tasks. You've still got to have room in your day to do your habits and to do your valuable activities. These are the things like your life purpose work on doing things that give you a sense of purpose, sense of fulfillment. You need these things first, and then you also have room for tasks and getting tasks done. Also, you also need space. I mean, this whole point about when you're scheduling is you need to schedule space, right? So you need breaks. You absolutely need breaks. You can't just be like going from one block straight into another block, straight into another one. Especially if you even commute. I always write down commute, right? And I should also mention I got this idea, from Cal Newport, with especially with a lot of the time blocking technique I use is from Cal Newport. He has a blog about it, about how to schedule your time. Just type in Cal Newport how to schedule your time, and you'll find the blog article. Basically, it shows. So basically, what he does is when he commutes, for example, he'll just put dots instead of like a block. He'll put like lines, dashes, and just say commute. So during this time, I need to commute to work or something, or I need to commute back from work. But then, of course, there's also break. You need to add breaks in between, so that you've got time to breathe. You've got breather space. And it's not just breather space. It's also, if something does go on a little bit, like a meeting goes on an extra 5 minutes or an extra 10 minutes, you need to be flexible like that. You need to give that flexible space, as well as breaks. I mean, it could be that an unexpected event happens, like someone suddenly needs your help today with something, and then immediately that changes your schedule. That's why it's important to have space next to the time blocks, to the right of the time blocks, to write in the extra things that you need to do, or the extra things that might come up, the unexpected things that might come up. yeah, as Cal Newport says, who you are, what you think, feel, and do, what you love, is the sum of what you focus on. And of course, time management is all about focus. It's about being able to focus your attention like a laser beam on the time block or on the thing that you are doing. If you're distracted, if you have lots of different things that are taking your attention away, that's really going to hinder your ability to get anything done, really. Some more inspirational quotes. This was by Charles Buxton. He said, "You will never find time for anything. If you want time, you must make it. So you don't find the time, you make it." And this idea of making time, that time is a creation of yours. You create the time. You don't find the time. You don't say, "Oh, I've got time for this." No, you make time for this because it's important to you. You say no to everything else and you make time for this thing that's important. That's really the best way to schedule your time. You have to be if you really want to manage your time well, you have to be a good decision maker. Because in effect, by deciding to do this one thing, you're actually saying no to all the other things that you could be doing. So it's really important that you focus on the thing that's most important to you and don't get distracted doing something else. Of course, work, relaxation, balance. It's not about time management is not actually about being as productive as possible and getting as much done in the smallest amount of time as possible. It's not about that. It is about being, time management is about being productive, and it is about, you might say it is about being as productive as possible, but it's not, it's not about being over productive. There's a limit to how productive you can be given your energy. It's not just time, but it's also energy. How much energy do you have? And the best way to manage your time is to focus your energy into one point in the day when you can get something done and get it done well. And then it's also about relaxing. Just once you've focused that 1 hour, once you've completed that one really intense block or period of time where you've done this thing, you feel accomplished, you feel great after doing it, then you can relax. You can have a break. You can, I don't know, watch TV, chat to some friends, do whatever you want. Go to a club, go to a knitting club. I don't know why that came to mind. I don't know if you like, maybe knitting, you like that's you like spending your time doing that or something. I don't know, but do whatever you like to do to relax, right? Do something you really like doing to relax. Like on holiday, I'm actually doing this. I'm actually filming this on holiday, because I feel like I don't really get much time when I'm doing my work to do this. When I'm doing my regular job as an English teacher, I don't get that much time to actually. It's that like I don't really make the time to do it when I'm doing that. But now I can, I'm making the time to actually focus and get this lesson done on my holiday. But at the same time, I also want to relax on my holiday. I don't want to spend too much time on this. I'm trying to kind of balance my time a lot. As T.S. Eliot said, time you enjoyed wasting is not wasted time. I really agree with that. Like, some people might say, "Oh, we just wasted all day at the beach, swimming, playing games, throwing the frisbee around. we didn't think about time. We just let time pass by. You've got to have those days, I think, in your life where you just let go of managing time. I think that's an important one to have, actually. Don't just try to, is it min-max? Try to get everything out of your time. Don't just say, like, let's say you have a weekend off, Saturday and Sunday. Don't just say, oh, I'm going to spend every hour of Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to carve it up like a piece of meat and just say, I'm going to get this done, I'm going to use it for this. But then what time do you have to just let go and relax? Like, it's sort of, time management has its use to a certain point, but then once you've managed your time well, you also need to learn how to let go and to, dedicate a day here and there to doing nothing. Literally doing nothing, or doing what you feel like doing things on impulse. That's also important. But then you've got to balance it again. It's all a bit of a balancing act, really. It's not simply a case of being really super productive all the time, but neither is a case of not having any structure to your life either. You still need structure, you still need to manage your time, but you need to manage it in such a way where you give yourself time to let go as well. I think that's probably the healthiest way to look at time management and to managing your time. So just some general, as we finish today's lesson, just some general points to remember. You have time for anything, but not for everything. So be selective. It's better to spend a lot of time on one great thing than on lots of insignificant things. It's better to spend your time doing something that's really, really important to you than lots and lots of things that aren't really that important to you. So that's where it's so important to have something to do, valuable activities. And when I talk about valuable activities, I really mean purposeful activities tied in with your life purpose. And obviously life is a process of discovering your life purpose and creating, well, not really discovering your life purpose, but actually creating your life purpose. Life is a creative process, and you really want to create a purpose for your life that's really fulfilling and inspiring to you. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be making videos like this. It could be teaching a lesson. It could be, this is just what I'm doing now, or it could be playing guitar, like I also do. It could be drawing. It could be writing. It could be painting. It could be maybe playing a sport, if that's what you really like doing. It could be anything that you're passionate about. But it's better to choose one thing. Be selective, be decisive about one thing that you really like, and then you can dedicate a lot of time to that thing and master it, than doing just with your attention just focused on lots and lots of different shit. Yeah, of course, at the beginning you do need to, earlier on in life, you do, and I'm still doing this now, is I'm still experimenting with what my life purpose is. So as in, like, I'm trying out something here and seeing if I'm more passionate about this thing, or I'm more passionate about this thing, or I'm more passionate about this thing, and I'm trying to find out what it is that I am passionate about. But really, it's a process of, through this process of experimentation and experience. It's through experiencing doing these different things that you find out what it is that you really are passionate about doing. And once you find that, then your life really gets even more interesting, right? Because then you can just focus your energy on that thing, that I'm just hitting that thing again and again and again, making it snowball. Make make that passion snowball, make that thing that you're really passionate about snowball into something amazing and really great. So awareness of wasted time is essential, but regret about this time is pointless. There's no point regretting the time that there's no point regretting the things you didn't do. It's better to be aware of, or there's no point regretting the things you did or didn't do, really. It's more a case of being aware of it. If you waste loads of time, you might say, if you do something which you consider a waste of time, like maybe you just watched TV all day, and you're really annoyed at yourself for watching TV all day. You think, oh, I should have spent my time differently. Well, there isn't a should, actually. I mean, that's how you spent your time. That's what you needed to do. Really. That's why you chose to do it, was because that's what you needed to do at that point in your life. Now you realize it's not what you want to do. You change who you are in relation to those things that you did in the past. So then now you see a different you, and you try to you recreate a new you through your thoughts about what you did and or didn't do, and then through your actions you create who you are. So it's really a case of being aware of the things that you feel like you wasted time doing, and then just simply learning from that mistake, and then choosing a new way of doing it. And the worst thing would be to continue to waste time doing shit you don't want to do. You want to be doing if you feel like you wasted time doing shit you don't want to do, the best thing is to change that and into something that you do want to do. And then, of course, the last point really is that your unique life purpose and goals are different from everybody else's. So what might be a valuable way of spending your time, of course, might be a waste of time for someone else, and vice versa. So don't judge how other people spend their time, and don't just believe an activity is a waste of time just because someone else says it is. If someone else says it's a waste of time to play with Lego all day, and it's an absolute waste of time, or why would you just do that? What, you're just like a kid playing with Lego all day. What's the point? But you're really passionate about playing with Lego, no matter how, let's say you're 30 years old and you're passionate about playing with Lego, then just play with Lego. Do what your heart is really telling you want to do, and don't let anyone tell you that you can't play with Lego, or that it's so. Don't let anyone tell you that it's a waste of time. Of course, you can let them tell you that, but don't you don't necessarily need to believe what they say, because that's just their perspective. That's their interpretation of what's a good way for them to spend their time, which is different from you. You have a unique way of spending your time, and you have activities that are valuable in a unique way to you. And you need to figure out which activities are valuable to you and which activities are distractions. And then once you get better and better at making this distinction and following and doing the activities that are more valuable to you, your life will grow in meaning, and you will be much more fulfilled with the way your life is going. So thank you for coming to the lesson today. I hope you found this activity valuable. Please do let me know in the comments what you thought. If you have any new ideas about how to manage your time, please let everyone else know. And yeah, thank you for coming to Lawson Learning today. and I'll see you again next time. Goodbye.